New Zealand produces some excellent Pinot Noir wines and would like to produce more. But the Pinot Noir vine is unreliable in yield and expensive to maintain and harvest. Despite the variety's fickle reputation among growers, our Pinot Noir wines have an excellent reputation offshore, with rising international demand. In 2018, the industry began exploring ways to improve yield without sacrificing wine quality.
Pinot Noir is really difficult because, first of all, it grows well and makes great wines in very few parts of the world. Obviously, it's home in Burgundy in France and some places in the US, but here in New Zealand, we're really lucky. We've got three, key regions that have been identified for making Pinot Noir, as well as Hawke's Bay up on the North Island. It's quite a difficult variety to grow, requires lots and lots of work in the vineyard, lots of particular conditions, both of soil and the way we grow our grapes, to try to sort of eke the best out of Pinot Noir. And the third piece is that it's really variable from year to year. We see huge amounts of variation in the yield and the style of the wines that we get from the same vineyard parcel year in, year out. And I guess we're really hoping that the program will help iron out some of those differences. I think we're really looking for, can we identify the best vines and how can we sort of replicate those best vines across a vineyard parcel, particularly for those vineyards that we have planted already? How can we get more consistency from vine to vine and more consistency from year to year?
Yeah, well, that Fraison's looking good there, Damien.
We're obviously a very quality-focused business, and so enhancing the quality of the wines we make on a year-to-year basis is very important. But from a commercial perspective, getting more regular yields and getting uniform amounts of wine to the market would really help the commercial sense as well. So, we're looking for quality and we're looking for those regular volumes. We're lucky at Cloudy Bay. We sell our wines in 77 different countries around the world, and there's a thirst out there for New Zealand Pinot Noir. The prices of the great wines of Burgundy are skyrocketing, and there's a real place for New Zealand to fill a space in the marketplace for, high quality, almost luxury Pinot Noirs. That there's a great opportunity, and I guess that's what one of these the ambitions of the project is, to help us be able to realise that potential in the marketplace. Yeah, and so we're obviously awaiting the new vintage. Yield's certainly looking better this year.
The program started just over 4 years ago, and so we've had 4 seasons worth of study, and this is our last year. We set a trial up to try and find some ideal vines that meet both grape and wine quality parameters, but also have good commercial yields. And so we decided to set up a network across the country to do that. So 3 key regions: Central Otago, Marlborough and Wairarapa. And within each of those regions, we've been studying 4 vineyards and a subset of vines, 20 monitored vines in each of those vineyards. And we've been looking at the performance of those vines each year in detail and comparing them one against the other within the vineyard, and also comparing between vines in different vineyards and under different environmental conditions and different management. For the grapes, we bring various parameters together. So we don't look at one parameter in isolation. We look at the soluble solids, the acidity, the colour, the berry size, all of those factors together to derive a specification for quality. So it's not one thing. And then we decide whether fruit from an individual plant or from a vineyard has met that specification or not. And then as we've made wines from those fruit, then we can also measure different parameters in the wine and see how those 2 assessment approaches kind of line up to each other. Brigato, and in working with Plant and Food, the University of Auckland and Lincoln University, we all worked together and put an application into MB for funding, and Brigato successfully secured that funding. So they are providing the program coordination, leadership and the funding for the program, and Plant and Food, Auckland University and Lincoln University are doing the research to support the program objectives. Part of what we're trying to do is understand what's termed a yield quality seesaw in Pinot Noir production in particular. So as a practitioner, most often you see when you push yields down, there's an improvement in quality, but we don't really understand why. And so part of this study was really about trying to understand, well, what was driving those differences in quality, and also, could we break that seesaw? Could we increase yield and maintain quality, or even improve quality? So that was our challenge in the study.
All right, so this is the 2020 vintage from our barracks vineyard, just up the road.
The practitioners are broadly right insofar as that you are much more likely to meet the quality specifications and quality expectations if your yields are low. But it's not totally impossible to have vines that have good commercial yields and good quality, because we find them. Another interesting thing is that it's not the same vines every year that meet those quality expectations. So we start to understand that it's not factors that don't change much from year to year that are driving those differences. So we're starting to hone in on the management of the vines, things like the carryover effect on vine reserves from the previous year and season, the bud load that will be applied to a vine at pruning, and then the current season's climatic conditions. Again, if those things all line up and the stars line up, that yield quality seesaw can be broken at an individual plant level. And the commercial challenge, as we've seen, is how do we scale that up to have many vines in a vineyard block and many vineyard blocks delivering that consistent quality year on year.